Welcome to Brewers Anonymous Monthly. This is the online recap of our monthly members meeting. I am Matt, the current vice president of the club and part of the board, along with Mike, Trevor, Max, and Kenny. All right, let's get started. We are recapping the August 16th, 2024 meeting. And as always, we start off with the club motto, strength through unity, unity through Zymergy. Cheers, everyone. And from there, we want to thank our supporters once again, Ivanhoe Park Lagerhouse, which was our host for this meeting, Home State Brewing, Broken Strings, Tactical Brewing Company, the American Homebrewers Association, and Communicate 360. We have a new member to now officially welcome to the club, Curtis Redicliffe. And I say now officially because Curtis has been coming to meetings for quite a few months now, and he was also doing a lot of work during Hot and Humid, including the bottle sort, which is the most labor-intensive part of that entire experience. And then he came throughout the weekends to judge as well. So he's been with the club, but he's officially put his signature on that dotted line, so to speak, and became an official member. So welcome officially, Curtis. On the club challenges front, we had a Lagerfest challenge this past meeting. We're going to talk about that here very quickly, but we're not done. We still have two more inter-club competitions this year. October is going to feature monastic ales, which are Belgian singles, doubles, triples, and quad and dark strong ales. And then we're going to wrap up December with wood-aged beer, and that is any beer aged on wood, any style you want. And then that will wrap up this year's challenges, and then we will, of course, move on to the next set. But before we even get close to that, let's talk about Lagerfest and the winners. Here they are. In third place was Ian O'Keefe with a Smoked Helles. Second place, Eric Rodriguez with a Märzen. And the winner this time around was Chris Snuber with his International Dark Lager. So congratulations, guys, and thank you, everybody that entered. Judging on these seemed pretty tight. I did not judge this round, and I didn't get to taste many beers. I was not at the meeting entirely this time due to some other commitments. But having judged in the past, I'm sure it was a very tough to call race as it always is. And again, thank you everybody for making these competitions possible. Since our last meeting, we have had the first Coast Cup Award ceremony. And first I want to say, before we get to the winners, how awesome this event was. This is probably the best homebrew ceremony event I have been at, not just this year, but just in general. They had an entire tap room. The tap room was closed to this event from 3 o'clock until the place cleared out well after the awards were over into the night. It was packed with cask members from Hogtown were there. There was 4 of us from Brewers Anonymous, and it was just so much fun. There was a lot of friendly rivalry and just a lot of camaraderie on top of that as well. And thank you, Cask, for hosting that and making such a great event. It's really something to kind of take as a model and work towards for, I'd say, just about any club to do. And we certainly took some cues from that. So great event. Thank you for that. And great result for Brewers Anonymous. Here is a list. Let's go through this real quick. Justin Heffernan with co-brewers Stephanie Segal, an American Light Lager. Christy Hunsworth with an American Lager. Ian O'Keefe with a Doppelbock and a classic style smoked beer. Trevor Golden with a dark mild, Mike Thompson for a tropical stout, Kenny McCord for an American IPA, and myself, Matt Hunsworth, specialty IPA, fruit and spiced mead and cider with herb or spices. Eric Gomez, hazy IPA, Graciano Miranda with a double IPA and a specialty wood-aged beer, Max Firth with a specialty wood-aged beer as well, William Carley with a Belgian double, experimental mead, and a best of show gold in mead and cider. Eric Rodriguez with a sweet mead, and JJ Ocampo with an experimental mead. So congratulations, everybody, and extra special thanks to everyone that entered as well. We're getting down to the wire. Things are starting to shift as far as the places go in the clubs. We're going to talk about that in a second, and we need every entry that we can possibly get from this point on, and this was the start of that. So thank you, everyone that entered this, and let's just keep that momentum going. And talking about that, we knew this was going to happen. We went into this knowing this is almost exactly what was going to happen. Maybe a little more than we thought, but we knew this was going to happen. Cask has taken over again. They caught up to the lead we had, and they surpassed it. They're ahead by 14 points. We were ahead by 15 points before this. So as you can see, my point is any competition can close that gap and take the lead again, and we still got 2 left. So we got 2 really good chances to not only make up ground, but take the lead and hold it into that final competition if that's what we want to do. It's entirely up to the group as Brewers. If you want to participate, put in those entries. Again, this was not our goal to maintain and retain the cup this year, but we've gotten a lot closer than we thought we were going to this whole season. So now there is a little bit of a renewed desire there, but we're just happy to have the showing we've had this year without even really trying. But the possibility is there. It exists, and we'll talk about those competitions that are left here in a few minutes. Here are some stats on the competition information. I'll just kind of leave these here to look at. Mike had put these together to show how our entry rate is doing compared to our win rate. It's actually been pretty good. We're going to have another competition that will probably have taken place by the time this video is actually posted. That's going to be Commander Saz, and we'll see what the numbers look like then as well. That's not one of the two that are left. Those are already entered and accounted for and judged. So that's not the two I'm talking about. You can actually see them here, Sunshine Challenge and Florida Beer. And again, here's some more stats and some details on those competitions that Mike has added to these slides. So go ahead and take a look at these. I guess the important thing is that Sunshine Challenge is only 300 entries, and it is part of the Circuit America from the, what's it called? The Master Homebrew Program, something like that. I think that's the name. So that's probably going to fill up quick. So that's one you can't drag your feet on. And they also aren't allowing cans. That's another important fact. Upcoming events. The return of the brewery exploration starts in September. We're going to check out Celebration Brewing. If you've been watching these videos since we've been producing them, you'll probably recall, I think in the very first one we released, Celebration had just opened. So we've been visiting it individually throughout the club. It's time to take the club there and experience it. A lot of familiar faces there. I'm not going to say who until you get there. I mean, you might be surprised, or you might have already seen them if you've gone. Great beer, incredible food, great location. One of the biggest check marks on my list for any brewery is the parking, and it's part of a much larger shopping center that has a Publix anchor store, so you know it's a huge parking lot. Plenty of parking. So come on out. That's Friday, September 6th. 7 to 9. Great location, great everything else. Beer, food, and service. So I don't think you'll be disappointed if you come out. Plus, we're going to have a lot of fun there as the club gets together and experiences the newest brewery in town. We had the lager exchange that night. There's 11 of us that participated. We all got our bottles swapped out. We're going to start drinking them and talking about them on Discord under the Summer Lager Exchange channel. So if you want to see what people made and what the other participants thought of it, check out that, as that will start to gain some activity as these bottles are opened and tasted. I'm looking forward to it. In fact, that's probably what I'll be doing very shortly after this recording, is checking out beer number 1. The Commander Saz Awards will probably have already completed by the time you see this. I'm recording on the same date that's listed on the screen. This is Saturday, August 17th. I'll probably have this video posted by 2 or 3 o'clock. Chances are you won't see it till a day, a week, maybe a month later, and the awards will have already happened. So I'm not sure where we stand or who won what, but you're going to find out in next one's video, because we are certainly going to talk about that. I can't imagine we're going to walk away with a goose egg, so there's going to be something to talk about. Those competitions. Okay, first one. This is the entering is done. The judging is actually starting as I sit here and speak for Nationals, but we're keeping an eye on that date because the Nationals, the points still count towards the circuit, and we have 13 entries. We have by far the largest amount of entries of any Florida homebrew club. In fact, the one right behind us is Cask, and they only have 2. We have a huge chance to get some points. These are basically bonus points. It's a tough competition. It's not one of those ones where we expect to sweep with all our entries, but with 13, we have a better chance of getting any or something. And at this point in the game, every point counts. So we are keeping our eye on that date of October 10th to know who won and how many points we have. Because again, every point will count. So we've still got a ways to wait on this, but we are definitely going to be watching that as it happens and see how we do and how that helps us in the circuit. Sunshine Challenge, that is the big one that we need to flood. It's right here in Orlando. We need as many entries as we can possibly get together to make up those points in the circuit. The registration is Sunday the 18th. It starts at 8 a.m. Again, this is part of the Circuit of America from the Masters Homebrew Program. It's probably going to fill up fast, maybe even that day. But if you are seeing this after Sunday the 18th and you have entries, check anyway. We really don't know for sure how fast this is going to fill up. And if you have those entries and they're available, please enter. The entry delivery window is August 24th to September 7th, but it is at Ivanhoe Park Lagerhouse. And I say but because they're still in their opening phase, having taken over the old Deadwards location. So they're not open every day. In fact, they're closed 2 or 3 days, a number of days. I'm not sure how many. I'm saying this because make sure you check if you're planning to go on a date, make sure they're open is what I'm trying to say. If you're going early in the week, chances are they're not open. They seem to be open more towards the end of the week and the weekend. Weekend for sure, I think would be the best course of action, the best plan if you can manage it to drop off because they should, or they will be open. There should be someone from CFHB there to take your entries. If it's a weekday, double check online, make sure the place is open because there's a good possibility it's not. The award ceremony takes place October 6th at 1 p.m. Again, that's at Ivanhoe Park Lagerhouse. All their judging is also at Ivanhoe Park Lagerhouse, and here's the dates. There's 2 sessions each Saturday and Sunday for 3 weekends. This is a great opportunity for a few things here. One, this is a great opportunity for a couple of reasons. One, if you're working on your BJCP training, it's practical training. It's real-world judging. It also gets you experience points, which you will need to get to your desired certification rank once you do pass those exams. And 3, it's going to also help out another club. As much work as we put into getting Hot and Humid done in time, they're going to have to put in just as much work, and they're going to need the help that we needed from other clubs. So I do encourage you to help out. I will be there at least one of these days, probably in that first weekend, and kind of gauge how fast they're going through entries and then kind of decide from there how much more help I can lend to this because they're definitely going to need it. And we've been in that situation. We've needed help. We've gotten it for other clubs. We can be that other club for them to help them get done because it's a lot of work. 300, it's not the biggest competition, but when you don't have a lot of people to do it, it can feel like thousands of entries. And I'm talking about that from experience. So consider these dates here. If you're just listening to the audio version, they are Saturday and Sunday, the 14th and 15th. Saturday and Sunday, the 21st and 22nd of September. I forgot to mention that. And Saturday and Sunday, the 28th and 29th of September. There's 2 sessions each day, noon and 4 o'clock. I have not seen any details on lunch provided in between. They typically do. There probably is. If for some reason there's not, it's also at Ivanhoe Park Lagerhouse, which has a kitchen, which I just experienced for the first time last night, was actually quite good. So there's food available there in one form or another. And finally, Best Florida Beer is going to be the last chance we have to make up points and retain the cup for a second year in a row. And the registration for that starts on Monday, September 16th at midnight. And this one is 400 entries. It's only a circuit competition. Chances are at this point in the game, it's going to be us, Cask, and Hogtown that are going to be hitting this one hard because we've been the top 3, I think, almost the entire season, at least since maybe the halfway point. But having said that, every entry is still important, especially in this home stretch. It is currently 3 entries per brewer, again at a 400 entry limit, and with it being the wind down to the season, that may not fill up right away, and that may get increased a few weeks after, so just kind of keep that in mind when you're planning your brewing out for this. Drop off for this is a little strange. It says September 16th to October 1st on Reggie Beer, where you register the beers, but on their website it says September 16th to October 4th, which actually makes more sense because I believe October 4th is a Saturday, but we're not entirely sure. We will definitely figure that out when we get our drivers going. We have our drivers already listed. We didn't update the slide. Kenny and Graciani are going to drive it for us, or drive down our entries, or drive over our entries. Don't know where the location is, but we will, of course, have that figured out before they hit the road. Again, 3 entries per brewer right now, but keep your eyes open post initial registration for an increase. And the 400 entry limit we already talked about. Judging dates for this. This is going to be a very tight judging session. 400 beers over 2 weekends. They do, I believe, this is their usual schedule every year. They get it done. They have a slightly larger judging pool on that side of the state than we have, but they could still use the help, and you can still get some practical judging experience in, and just as importantly, those experience points. So those dates for judging are Saturday and Sunday, October 12th and 13th from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's going to be at Magnanimous at the Seminole Heights location. And then the following weekend, Saturday, October 19th and Sunday, October 20th, again, 9:30 to 4 o'clock. And that is going to be at Wolf Haven Brewing. And we just discussed we have our final drivers for that, so we are set to go. Now, dates and drop-offs for our entries for Kenny and Graciani will be, of course, posted in Discord, Facebook, and anywhere else that we tend to post our information. So details will be coming up on that closer to that drop-off date. The second half of festival season is coming, and it's coming quite quickly and furiously almost. So we've got a lot of opportunities of things that we have open to us that we are considering registering for. We will just need beer and people to get these done. Mash of the Titans is up first. This is a fairly newer one. I think this is its third or fourth year. I'm not quite sure what year it is. It's over at the Lake Nona area near Boxy Park and Park Pizza. I've not been to this. It's always fallen on something else on my calendar, but I've heard it's a really good time. Fairly small in comparison to some of the other ones we're going to talk about. But that's a good thing. We always have a great showing at these festivals, and this is our target area. This is where we're looking for new members and people to expose the hobby of homebrewing to. So this is an opportunity we need to take advantage of. So I think my calendar is finally clear for that particular Saturday. I'll be out there for at least that. It's October 12th. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. There's a VIP option. It starts at 1 p.m. Setup will probably be starting around 9, 10 o'clock, I would imagine. Again, it's Lake Nona Town Center. Contact Joe Flattery if you want to volunteer or donate beer or both. And then from there, we've got the big one. We do this every year, and we always have a great time. We have a great showing. It's been the festival that has gotten us invited to other festivals. And one right off the top of my head was Hamlin Beer Fest. They found us there, and they went out of their way to invite us to their inaugural event because of Orlando Beer Fest. We're already registered. Saturday, November 2nd. The only thing about that date that's a little frustrating, it's the same day as the Best Florida Beer Awards. Doing both of these events is possible, but probably not a good idea. But we'll talk about that more. Well, I think we have enough people interested in both sides of that coin that we can have a presence at both. I'm not sure which one. I really don't know which one I will be at yet. But going back to this, it's again Saturday, November 2nd. VIP starts at noon. It ends at 5 o'clock. It's at Festival Park. Load in probably about 9, 10 o'clock as usual. From there, we've got Tom and Dan's Bad at Business Beer Fest. This is a free beer fest for people that are attending it. That's where the Bad at Business name comes in. So this one, pretty popular too. It's in Sanford. It's roughly in the area that Pints and Paws is at, but not as big. And that is Saturday, November 23rd. VIP starts at noon. I don't know when the end is. I can't imagine it's past 5 o'clock. Load in again, probably 9, 10 o'clock. And see Joe Flattery if you want to volunteer or donate beer or both. This one I'm planning to go to as well. We'll see. That is all we have on our slides for the remainder of 2024. But we know there's one still out there that is probably going to happen. It's Fox Valley Farms Bines and Brews. And we've always had a huge presence there. In fact, I think we probably represent more than half the tents of that. If it happens, and if we get a date, I'm sure we'll be involved again. I just don't have any of that information yet. They've been contacted. They did not return with a specific date, or I'm not even sure full confirmation that it's happening. I think at best we get a confirmation that it's happening. We have no date. So hopefully soon, because you need the time to brew the beer. So if we find out before the next meeting, make sure keep your eyes open on Discord. That's where we'll announce it first. So right now, though, we don't know anything about that one. We're hoping to see it again, and we're hoping to be part of it. But we still have more to talk about. Now, this is going to go into 2025, so kind of keep this penciled in on your calendar. Science on Tap. This is the one we did last year because it had overlap with Smash Fest, but then Smash Fest suddenly got moved, and we joined this event with only 2 weeks to brew beer. And all of our beers were Kvike. So we kind of did a well-themed science experiment by making 5 beers that were all fermented with Kvike yeast in less than 2 weeks. So we're going to do this again. It was fun. It's a really nice location. It's a fantastic time of year. The weather was phenomenal. It's probably the most comfortable festival I did all year this year, so I'm looking forward to doing that again. VIP starts at noon and ends at 4. Load-in was around 9 or 10 o'clock from what I remember. It's across from the Orlando Science Center. It was just a really good time. Really can't say enough about it. More details and the official registration is coming soon. We have actually been in contact with them, so I think we're already on their list. We just need to fill out the official form and provide our insurance forms and all the paperwork that goes with it, which isn't that much. It sounds worse than it is. There's another one. The invitation was extended and now it's been accepted. So we are in the Cocoa Village Brewers Bash. That is February 1st, 2025. It starts at 1, ends at 5 o'clock, Riverfront Park. Awesome location. Is out in the Cocoa area, of course. You can probably guess that by its name. A little bit of a drive, but another great event. We always have a great representation there as well. And it's also early in the year, so the weather should be nice. And it's off the water, and again, a fantastic venue. I've been to this venue several times for other things. Not this event yet, but I hope to get out there this year for it, either participating or as an attendee. But if you're interested, we'll have more details of that to come. And just announced the Hamlin Craft Beer Fest is returning. And if you don't remember what this was the inaugural beer fest in Winter Park across from Home State, very close to that, where we absolutely killed it. It almost felt like a Brewers Anonymous event. We had the longest line all day by far. There's a fairly infamous video. I'll have to share it again. That was taken of me walking the line that was in front of our tent. It was crazy. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was insane how many people we served that day. And then we won the tent of the event, as that's what that left picture, bottom picture is there. That's it. We won the trophy of the best tent by not even like a narrow margin, by like a landslide. This was fun. We want to do all that again. I think if you get the same majority of the same people that went last year, they will now be looking for the tent, and it might be even bigger. So we will need fun beers. We'll need all the help we can get, I think, at this point. And we just want you to come out and have a good time, too. That was the other thing, too. It was a freaking blast. So I'm looking forward to this. March 29th, 2025. VIP starts at noon, ends at 5 o'clock. It's in Winter Garden near Homestead. Oh, I think I said Winter Park. I do that all the time. I get those two cities mixed up. Sorry. Winter Garden. It's Winter Garden. That's where this is, not Winter Park. So Winter Garden. Load in, I remember being about 9, 10 o'clock as well. Usually always is about 3-4 hours before the event. So you can probably expect that to be the same. Other things going on. So update on our e-learning system, specifically the BJCP training program. All of the course content for that training program should be uploaded by the end of the year. Knock on wood, which is exactly what I just did. That is because that will now give us a 7-month prep time for the potential Orlando judging exam that is going to be administered by Dave Fetty on July 19th, 2025. This is the first Orlando judging exam that I've ever seen since I've been part of the community. I believe it's been decades since there has been one. So this is a pretty huge deal for the brewing community in Orlando, and an equally big deal for Brewers Anonymous. This is going to be huge, and we'll talk more about it as we go. It's, again, a potential judging exam. There's so many moving parts that need to go into this to get it just even approved and announced that we're not by yet, but David is working very hard on it. I am helping him as much as I can. He's the national judge. He's the one that I should say can be the administrator. I can't yet until I get my national ranking, but I'm also working on that so we can continue this. Once we started, we don't want it to be a once and done. We want to continue it, but David's working very hard. I'm working very closely with him. We're trying as hard as we can to make sure this happens. And if it does happen, and we have to assume it does in order to prepare ourselves, that gives us 7 months after all the content is dropped to pass the online entrance exam, do a lot of in-person judging practice sessions, do a lot of off-flavor sensory styles, do some online study styles to get to know the details of each style. And one thing that's not on here, do a ton of handwritten score sheets. Get those hand muscles going. Write out your score sheets practices. Get your handwriting to a legibility factor that's anyone can read. That's my biggest goal or obstacle sometimes. And then we'll also have, with the timing of this, we'll have practical judging experience right before this, just 3 weeks before this, with many opportunities for hot and humid. So again, we have to assume we will get this because we need to start planning to be prepared for this. This is huge. This is, like I said, not only huge for the brewing community, but huge for Brewers Anonymous, and even huger, if that's even the right term, for the people that want to get their certification. But moving on, talking more about learn.brewersanonymous.com. As far as course content goes, I'm not sure if this is very clear. Last time we talked about this, so I kind of just reiterate a couple of things. The course content creation is open to anybody. And all it needs to be is homebrew related. It could be about brewing, about doing different events, about equipment tutorials, recipe shares, etc. If you want it to be shared to everybody so that people on the internet are searching for the subject that you are teaching and it leads them to our website and exposes the club to them, we can do that. If you want it to be private to club members only, we can do that as well. I have no firm set template on a way to do things. Whatever you want to do and how we do it, we'll figure that out together. So don't worry that you don't have or know how to do it. We will figure it out. So just contact me or someone on the board if you want to participate. All right, that leads into our Austin P. Harris Brewer of the Year standings, and this was updated after the Lagerfest, but unfortunately, that did not bump anyone out of the top three. These top three are the same as they were last month. Right now, Mike Thompson is on top with 102 points. Bill Carley follows very closely behind him with 93 points, and I am trailing with 79 points. I expect somewhere along the line my name to drop from this list. I really had no hopes of doing anything this year, so I will not be surprised if this set of names finally changes next month. If you didn't already know, we are now in a meeting rotation as far as our locations are concerned. We had our very first meeting at Ivanhoe Park Lager House. That went extremely well. They had tables reserved for us. They had flight glasses set out on each of the tables, menus ready. We had a great time. The noise problem that we used to have at this old location was non-existent. We had a very good meeting, some very good beers. We had enough room to do our lager exchange. We had enough room to judge the Lagerfest, so that was great. We're rotating that with Home State, who have been very good to us this year. Without them, we would have not had Hot and Humid, so we want to continue going there, supporting them, and buying their beers and their foods as well. So next month, September 20th, we'll be at Home State. Then October, we're in rotation. We're going to Ivanhoe Park Lager House again. Then November, Home State. December, we're still working on, because we're not only having our December meeting where we kind of have our Christmas celebration, we're also having a club Christmas party. So we're having 2 events that month. So that we will determine sooner than later, but we don't have that information yet. And on that note, that is it. So thank you everyone that showed up for the meeting. Thank you everyone that watched this video. And our next meeting will be September 20th, again at Home State Brewing Company in Winter Garden, not Winter Park. One day I will get those two straightened out, but obviously this video is not that time. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in that next meeting.